Recording with Mr. John Cullen on Wednesday, August 14th, 2024 at 2:04 p.m. Eastern Time. If you guys go into the description, you can find the link to his YouTube channel, his Twitter, and now updated, you can go find his Patreon. So you can go give this man a couple shekels for being a modern day Warren Commission. Maybe not a good analogy because the Warren Commission was obviously a cover up, but the guy who is like I said last time with you and Clay, very happens about once a year or so where I do an episode and halfway through I'm like, this is the one that gets me killed. Yeah, this is the one. And I think we're up in the runnings. This is episode 1550. There's like five or six episodes where I'm like, that one I might die. And you are now in that elite Mount Olympus of episodes where I go, that I might actually fucking die. And so with that, Mr. Cullen, introduce yourself and then take it away as I post the live link.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, we had quite the show last time. I guess it was 2, 3 weeks ago, with Clay Martin,
Mm-hmm.
and he's a former U.S. Marine sniper and a former U.S. Special Forces or Special Operations sniper instructor, and he
Hmm.
also teaches the contractors urban sniping stuff like that. So really skilled guy. You know him as a fantastic author, right? He's a great author.
Hmm.
And, we got to review some evidence last time, and I think your video got quite a few views, right? I mean,
110,000, I think, right now.
yeah, so that's quite a few compared to the typical stuff. So I guess people liked what we were talking about, and I thought in this show we might just kind of catch up on some of the stuff maybe that's been a little bit kind of debunked and some of the stuff that still nobody has yet to answer, and that might make some sense. So there's still a lot of questions that are as yet unanswered,
Mm-hmm.
and in particular, having to do with that back row.
Mm.
The fact that we see that shot kind of hit the railing and make that puff of smoke, and that we see all those people in the back row, in one way or another, it seems like they respond. Either they flinch or they fall down or something like that. And it's kind of undeniable. And at the same moment, we see those counter snipers up on the roof kind of come off their scope and back up and take cover. And it's like, are they taking fire? And then we listen to that clip from Rob at Fieldcraft Survival Tactical. And he said that he, either knows them or knows somebody who knows them firsthand. And he said they thought they were taking fire.
Mm.
And I think I played that clip. Do you remember that clip I
Yeah.
played with
Yeah.
Rob?
Yeah.
So the idea here is if those counter snipers think they're being fired at and somebody is shooting at them and missing, and the missed shot goes traveling down that back row, well, that didn't come from the shooter on the roof. That would have had to have come from somewhere else. In
And
particular, go ahead.
I was gonna say, and with Clay last time, you had brought up that Eric Prince tweet saying, well, whatever it was, 488, whatever the exact number was, and not one more, not one less. And in the 2 nights ago, the Elon Musk Trump Twitter space, he says
Right.
partway through, he goes, and then my counter sniper, who I thought was interesting. I think he said the exact number, like 488 yards, said like three times as far as the shooter. But then he also said, this counter sniper who's been with me for 23 years. He said that. Obviously, he became president.
Who said that?
Donald Trump
Who-
on
Okay.
on
Okay.
the Elon Musk Twitter space less than
Uh,
48 hours ago. He goes, and
uh,
that counter, he doesn't say his name. He goes, who's been with me for 23 years. And I was like, that's interesting. So the guy that took the
I
shot
didn't
and
hear it that way. I didn't
yeah,
hear it that way. I heard when he said that, I thought he was talking in general about the Secret Service and not that
I think
particular
I think he
individual.
had said that counter sniper
I'll
because
have
he
to
goes,
listen again.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
have to
yeah.
listen
I
again.
might be, I might be, but regardless, I just thought that was an interesting note that he confirmed Eric Prince's thing by saying the exact number, but then
Well, he didn't say
and
the
then
exact number. He said more than 400
okay,
yards. He said
all right,
more than 400. Eric Prince says 488. So
okay.
Eric Prince is being very
And Trump kind
specific.
of okay, gotcha.
But the fact that Trump brings it up 4 weeks later and mentions the 400 yards, 400 or more yards or whatever he said,
Yeah.
he didn't really need to do that. And it's kind of like he's kind of stirring the pot again.
Hmm.
Because when you look at where these counter snipers were located, there is no 400-yard shot to the kid on the roof.
Yeah.
So that brings us back to that really uncomfortable aspect of this. So, but that, to tell you the truth, I've kind of moved all that to the back burner, and I've been focusing on the activity around the American Glass building, American Glass research, and the trajectories and things of that nature. Can I share my
Yep.
screen with the
Yep.
audience
Yep.
and
Yeah, I
show you
already gave
guys a thing or two on the
yeah, I
map?
already yeah, I gave it to you.
Okay, let me show you guys a picture or two. So what we're looking at here is Google Earth. And this is the venue. And here is where they had the secret snipers located, on the roof of this building here. And they were looking out from this building to the location where the kid was on the roof. Okay, so that's their line of sight. And the president, is over here by these red buildings, right? So he was over there. This is where the counter snipers are, but when we measure from their location to the kid on the roof, that measurement is 1,068 feet. That's not 400 yards. That's 356 yards, something like that. So that doesn't really work out for us. So we have to look at, what would be further than that? Now, I've been focusing on the activities around the American Glass Research Building because we've been getting the body cam footage. And the body cam footage has been really interesting because we've got the Motorola clock. There's like a system clock that supposedly synchronizes all these body cams. And the fascinating thing is that they redacted all of the audio until after the shooting is over. So you can't hear the shots.
Hmm.
It's like, well, what good is that, guys? That's not really helping. Why would you not want us to hear the what's going on here? What are we protecting? Who are we protecting? You're protecting the dead guy's rights? He's dead. Don't you lose your rights when you die? I forgot. You still have rights? Do you still have rights when you die? Can you sue people? Can you stuff like that? Can you get arrested once you're dead? I don't think so. You're dead. So what are they worried about? Who are they protecting? Why are we redacting the audio? Well, one of the recordings was a dash cam in a police car, and it's kind of recording in the background that's very low. So if you boost it and you get rid of the background noise, you can kind of tell what's going on, and you can tell when the gunfire happens. And so it's just odd that they're redacting so much evidence and not letting you hear anything. So we kind of have to play the hand that we're dealt, right? And that's what we tend to do. So this is the scene of all the action, is the American Glass building. You got cops running around. And then one of the things that we got recently, also last couple of days, was the video of the cop who's coming up from this area. He's kind of walking up here. And on his body cam, we see the guy running across the roof. And that's kind of crazy, right? So that sort of changes everything. So, the guy's walking up, they're near the water tower, and they see somebody running across the roof here. And that's somewhat similar to what we saw in that Fox footage, where we saw somebody run across the roof and then looks like they got shot. Hard to tell. But is that the same guy? In one, it looks like he's running across, and in this one, it looks like he's running here from right to left. So kind of odd. I don't know. Maybe when he got to this rooftop, he went this way and then came across here. I don't know. It was very odd watching that. So we have to study that some more. But there's been a lot of new evidence, a lot of body cam evidence coming out. A lot of it's redacted, and a lot of it's pretty uncomfortable because it kind of syncs up with the stuff that we looked at last time. So last time we were together, I shared a video with you guys. Let me see if I can find this. Hang on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure I can.
You're good.
Here it is. Here it is. All right. So this is what I played for you guys last time. And this was this really lousy recording that somebody made, an eyewitness, running around with his phone in his hand, and he puts all this stuff on top of the video. But even with that, we were able to pick up some stuff. So let me play this for the audience. And we're going to build on this because this is what we had the last time we were together, and now there's more. So let me share this with you guys. And I'm going to play this, hopefully not too loud. So the thing that's weird here is that when we see and hear these silent shots in the Audacity software, we're seeing something in this window. Now, some people think it's a reflection. Some people say it's a muzzle flash. Some people say it's something else. It could be something electronic, but it's the synchronicity of it. It's the fact that when we hear or see these silent shots on the Audacity meter on the chart, we see this stuff happening in the window at the same time. So that makes, the correlation makes it kind of odd. Well, now there's more. So we went from that piece of content to some newer content, and the newer content came from the body cams. And that's this. Bear with me. So this is from a body cam. You there?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So here's your body cam. And if you look at the time in the upper right on the body cam, this is at 6:11:32. And they tell you that the president was shot at 6:11:33.
Mm.
So this is like half a second prior to when they tell you he was shot. We see this in the window. So that's a little awkward, right? This is a split second before he's shot. We see this in the window. Now, at the same time, we've got this dash cam footage. And the dash cam footage, if we watch the clock on the dash cam, okay, so I'm going to pull this up, and I want you guys to watch the clock in the dash cam footage. I'm going to take it back.
Mm-hmm.
One more time from the beginning. All right, so these are both Motorola system cameras, right? And the Motorola system does this synchronization thing on a regular basis. All the cameras kind of sync up with one another on a system clock. And so what we're seeing here is that from the dash cam parked outside the front door, the shots appear to begin at 18:11:32. And in the image that we just looked at a minute ago from the other body cam,
Mm-hmm.
it appears that we see something in the window at 6:11:32, which is the same moment that we hear the gunfire begin. Well, that's remarkably awkward because before, when we were together with Clay, we were looking at muzzle flash when we heard silent gunfire, suppressed gunfire. So we were looking at the suppressed gunfire in Audacity, and we had, ding, ding, right? Those weird looking things, and just like a spike out of nowhere. And Clay hears it, I hear it, right? It's pretty obvious. This is different. This is the actual gunfire that we hear. This is the bang, bang, bang stuff. And on the police body cam, we're seeing what appears to be muzzle flash at the same instant. So this is what makes it, when people say, well, this could be the reflection of this or the reflection of that, the issue here is that we're seeing this at the same split second that we hear the gunshot on the other camera, which is synchronized to this camera. So the likelihood that this is the reflection of something is rather low. The likelihood that this is the real deal, I think, is pretty high. Unless somebody's got evidence that this is something other than that. But right now, we've got a Motorola system microphone picking up gunshots at 6:11:32, and we've got another Motorola body cam picking up this at 6:11:32. I would present this to a grand jury, and they would say, yeah, I think we need to look into this.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
I'm watching, I'm listening. Yeah, it's you can't really fake. I mean, if they said he shot at 6:11:33, but that shows 6:32. The
Well,
only
meaning it takes half a second for the
Yeah,
bullet to get
sure.
down range.
Well, yeah,
So this is uprange. So if you're standing next to the shooter, you're going to hear bang,
yeah,
but the bullet takes a quarter of a second to get down range.
yeah,
So the crack part of the crack thump stuff that you hear at the podium would be at 6:11:33.
yeah,
That works. Yeah.
yeah. That was gonna be my only devil's advocate would be like, we're not seeing fractions of seconds, so who knows? Maybe one registers at 6:30, 33, and that one registers at 32, and it's really they're a thousandth of a second off. It's 32, 4.99999 or whatever, and it didn't turn over. That's the only thing I can think of.
No, so you got one clock at the starting line and you got another clock at the finish line.
Yeah, yeah,
So the clock at the starting line says 6:11:32, and the clock at the finish line says 6:11:33.
yeah.
That's exactly right. They're 150 yards apart, 135. So that's right. So this is exactly what you would expect to see.
That
To
was
me,
my yeah.
this is exactly what I would expect to see. If this said 6:11:33, it would be weird.
Sure.
How would you hear it at 6:11:33 here and 150 yards away
Yeah,
at the same instant? That would be odd. Right? So this actually makes sense.
yeah,
So that's it, right? So this is pretty damning evidence, if you ask me. And then we get into all the stuff, people coming and going, and the doors, and the first guy to leave and the first guy to come, and all that other stuff. And the other thing to keep in mind is there's a tree in the way between the kid on the roof and the primary Hercules sniper team on the rooftop closest to the shooter. There's a tree in the way. They don't have a shot at this guy, and he doesn't have a shot at them.
Mm.
So if they think that they're taking fire, from where? They don't have line of sight to him, and he doesn't have line of sight to them. That's how that works, right?
mm-hmm.
So if you don't have line of sight, they don't have line of sight. So this is in 3D. This is the 3D model showing the location of the Hercules counter sniper on that closest rooftop to the shooter, and there's a tree in the way. So if they think they're taking fire, where are they taking fire from? It can't be the kid on the roof. How is he shooting at them and shooting the president in the ear at the same time?
Yeah.
Right? You can't do that unless you have a duck gun or something. One of those. It's got 3 barrels on the end or something. How do you do that? How do you shoot at the president and these guys? And they say they thought they were getting shot at. So how does that happen? Obviously, there's a tree in the way here.
Yeah.
So the kid can't see them. They can't see the kid on the roof. Right? So that kind of ruins he was shooting at the snipers thing. So who was shooting at them? Well, there's this woman named Vanessa Broussard. I don't know if you've ever had her on the show. Have you ever heard Vanessa Broussard? So Vanessa Broussard is with RSBN, and she's the broadcasting lady, and she's doing the live feed, and she's telling everybody, well, here's what's happening, and she says a couple things that are pretty intense, and nobody seems to want to talk about this a whole lot. So let's listen to what she had to say one more time, because this is kind of huge. Again, is she on mushrooms? Is she hallucinating? Is she doing psilocybin, LSD? Like, why would she hallucinate what she's about to say? Or is she not hallucinating and this is accurate? So let's listen closely.
Aiming at the trees. If you look to our left, the night I laid my eyes on you. Secret Service quickly erupted. You can see the snipers on the building behind the podium, aiming at the trees. If you look to our left, there are trees in the distance, and that seems to be where the gunfire is coming from.
If you look to the left in the distance, that seems to be where the gunfire is coming from. Now, that's a pretty bold statement, right? And she's making it in the moment. And she said that the snipers are looking over there at the trees. And that seems to be where the gunfire is coming from, right? I'm not hallucinating, right? I mean, you heard that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not just me. Right?
Correct.
Okay. So why would she say that? Is she saying that because it's not true? Is she making it up? Is she confused? Is she develop a vision problem in that moment? Let's take a look at this other footage and see what might Vanessa Broussard from Right Side Broadcasting have been looking at when she made this bold declaration.
No, he didn't. He did not. Secret Service quickly erupted. You can see the snipers on the building behind the podium, aiming at the trees. If you look to our left, there are trees in the distance, and that seems to be where the gunfire is coming from.
Yeah, he's absolutely pivoting to his right. He moves his entire
turning to his
body.
right. Right. And we know he doesn't have line of sight to the kid on the roof. He turns his whole body to the right to the tree line. Rob from Fieldcraft Survival Tactical tells us these guys thought they were getting shot at.
Yeah.
They are ducking for cover. The guy on the right is literally ducking for cover. Right? Now, I can't tell if they got grazed or not, but somebody sent me something and said, check this out. Did a bullet actually graze the counter snipers? Check this out. See what you think. You play a lot of this stuff, so you might be able to eyeball this and tell us what the real deal is. All right, so this is some footage of the counter snipers as the shooting begins. Watch closely.
Take a look what happened.
What you know about rolling down?
See something that said, take a look what happened.
Right, yeah, right hand moving across his body to the left, hit something on the left side of the weapon.
I don't know. I mean,
Doing something. Yeah.
hard to
Take a
tell.
look what happened. What happened. What happened. What happened. What happened. What happened. What happened.
So it's pretty, pretty awkward. You've got these guys turning towards the tree line. Vanessa Broussard is narrating and saying they're turning towards the trees. It appears that's where the gunfire is coming from. So let's all pretend that didn't happen. That's the part where I just don't get it. I don't understand. We're just going to pretend that stuff didn't happen. What? Why? Why is Dan Bongino pretending this didn't happen? I don't understand that. To me, that's the uncomfortable part. Nobody wants to talk about that back row of people. The guy in white, that guy in white, not only does he fall down, it's like he gets up and he goes down again a second time, right? So he gets up and then he kind of composes himself, and then he goes back down. And the question is, after he composes himself and everything, what's going on? Why does he go back down? Right? So a lot of people have seen the footage where the guy in white falls off the bleachers, right? And then people were saying, well, he didn't get shot. He was okay. Okay. But then what happens a moment later? So this is what we call the guy in white. And the guy in white is in this back row. And the question is, was he grazed or something? Or was he just, puking? Or because after he goes down, he goes to the back, checks on what's happening, and then he takes a knee. And it's like a Colin Kaepernick type of moment there, right? I mean, he's taking a knee. He already fell down once. Did he lose a contact and he's looking for his contact lens or something? Because he falls off the bleachers when we have the first shot. So this is this guy. So this is the guy who goes down. So it appears that the people in the back row were somehow startled or shaken up or something, but the people in the row in front of them weren't. They didn't all flinch at the same time. And we see that something hits the railing. It appears that the bullet hits that back railing. And that's kind of a big deal because there's a guy that we call the Lucky Man. And the Lucky Man is the guy who was standing in the back corner near Copenhagen and near David Dutch. And if the shot had come from the rooftop, it would have had to have gone through the Lucky Man to hit the railing. So it appears that the shot that hits the rail did not come from the rooftop shooter. It appears the shot that hit the rail came from possibly the same tree line that we see the snipers turn towards. So in other words, we see them turn towards the trees, and that would mean that the shot kind of came from that direction and hits the railing. And so that would look like this. So it didn't come from the rooftop shooter, it came from the tree line where they were pointing. And it appears they may have been taking fire from another shooter in the trees. Yet none of the other people who were investigating this seem to want to talk about that, seem to want to talk about, well, why were they thinking they were taking fire? Why did they turn towards the tree line? What was that all about? Right? Why did we see them going up in the tree in a ladder? Right? Is this typical? Do they typically go up trees after a shooting? How often how often do we see them? Police officers climbing up a tree with a 10-foot ladder. This is typical,
No.
right? So what's this about? If they were aiming at the trees,
Huh.
Vanessa Broussard says it appears the gunfire is coming from the trees. What are they looking for in the tree?
Huh.
This isn't an apple picking moment, right? It's not really apple season till what, September, October in Western Pennsylvania. This is in July. It's not time to pick the apples.
And yeah, you can only we obviously don't know what, what military drone footage there is, and we can only speculate, but what you can do is kind of look at the, I guess, the human ripples, if you will, of it's like like 9/11. It's like, not, it's classified where exactly the POC is, the Presidential Emergency something center under the White
Mm.
House. But on 9/11, Secret Service famously ran and picked up Dick Cheney off the ground and ran him down the hallway to, I guess, what looked like a closet, which I would imagine is, so you don't have clearance, you don't have Yankee white clearance, but you can go, I don't think that's a broom closet. I would imagine that's probably a nuclear bunker. So, like, you and I don't have access to the Reapers or the Global Hawks or whatever drones are up there. But if we're just kind of looking around and go, well, what do we have access to? Well, we got two guys in full combat kit bringing a ladder over to a tree. Where's the tree? Where the guys on camera pointed their sniper rifles to. Huh.
And
So at
that's
the very
very, yeah.
least, you got to go. And of course, you got to have evidence, we know. But what we can do is we can walk right up to the edge of an assumption and go, why is this something we normally see? Secret Service walking out with a ladder to it? Probably not. So
Mm,
there is
mhm.
there's a certain amount of speculation that you can safely say is probably not speculation so much as it's just, you know, the very last thing in like a court case. And then he went up and held the gun, and a bus passed by the camera. And then in the next frame, the lady's dead, and there was smoke coming from the gun. There's I don't know shit about law, but I would imagine there's like a reasonable expectation of, I don't know, logical flow, I guess, right?
Indeed. And I think that what they really want to have happen is for people to say, okay, so we heard 8 shots, and there's a guy on the roof with a gun, and here's 8 shell casings. Case
Yeah.
closed, open
Yeah.
and shut, right?
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
Warren Commission shit. Yeah.
Yeah. And the truth is, it's not quite that simple, right? So we are hearing suppressed gunfire, and it's not just that we think we hear it, it's that we have evidence of it. And what that is, we've put it on the scope, so to speak. And in doing so, that allows us to see the stuff that we're hearing. Let me show the audience this. I don't even know if I showed this to Clay in this kind of detail.
I'm going to fill up my cup with ice. Take it over.
Go fill your cup with ice. And don't forget your blanket. And so what this is software called Audacity. And this allows us to visualize the audio. And what you'll see here are some really vertical spikes at the same time. We hear some strange things. So let me hit play. And this is actually like more of a watch what you're hearing kind of a thing. So you'll hear it, but it's more what are you seeing on the chart as you hear it?
Make yourself small, bro. I don't know what's going on.
So it's that you see it and you hear it at the same moment. The fact that it's this very vertical line, and we hear the click, and that's the suppressed gunfire, and nobody really knows it's happening. Nobody's aware of it. The snipers on the other roof may be, because I think that's who they're shooting at here, but someone is shooting suppressed rounds. And the only way to really tell is by slowing the video down to 10%. That's what I did here. By slowing the video down to 10%, you're able to both see and hear the silenced gunfire. There's a couple other guys on the internet who are kind of morons that don't understand that. So they think there's nothing happening here. But when you slow it down to 10%, it's both obvious visually and auditorily. So one more time, I'm going to hit play. Watch when the playhead gets to these vertical lines, and you'll hear the click, and that's the suppressed gunfire. So I think that's pretty compelling and pretty easy to see. So we see it, and that correlates with what we see in the window, with the flashes in the window. In other words, the flashes in the window and the silent gunfire aren't like within 5 seconds of each other. We hear it and see it at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
And then we get to the body cam footage from the cops, and now we've got the bang bang stuff in the car cam, while the body cam is picking up same kind of flashing in the window at the same time we hear the gunfire. So it's getting more and more compelling as we go on. And again, this is evidence-based stuff, right? I mean, I've never been to Butler. I don't know anything about this place.
Sure.
So we're just going with the recordings and going with the stuff that we have. And the idea is to see if we can figure out the various trajectories to the different victims, right? So you've got different people in different places, different victims. You've got Copenhagen, you've got Dutch, you've got Corey, you've got the president, different people who are getting hit with different rounds. And the question is, if the shooter's on the roof and he shoots at the president's ear and it hits the ear, where should it end up after it hits the ear? So in other words, 2 points make a line, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, we know where the shooter is. We know where the president's ear is. If we know he hits the ear, but it doesn't end up in his skull, well, where did it go? Is that the one that hits the hydraulic line on the crane? Is that the one that hits the windshield on the tractor? Did you know that the windshield on the tractor appears to have been hit twice? Did you know that?
I knew about the hydraulic line. I didn't know it would hit the tractor. I didn't know it hit the tractor at all.
Appears to. So again, I'm not certain, but it appears that the John Deere,
shit.
I think this is an 8150, looks like it's got 2 holes in it. Now, this is captured from a video. I think this is the NTD footage. And again, that means we can account for 2 shots, 2 errant shots. Was one of those the shot that clipped the president's ear? Did the ATF or FBI or Secret Service recover those rounds? Were they inside the cab of the John Deere? Were they in the glass? What happened here? Okay. So as we start accounting for each one of the rounds, so for example, David Dutch was shot twice. James Copenhagen was shot twice. Corey Comparatore was shot once. So we know Corey Comparatore has a bullet. We know that Copenhagen's got 2. We know that David Dutch has got 2. Well, we're up to 5 already. One of them hits the president's ear and goes somewhere, ends up maybe in the hydraulic line. Well, that's 6. Now we've only got 2 more rounds. Well, I see 2 in the tractor. So which one hit the back railing? Uh-oh, we don't have 9 shots, Tommy. If I got 2 in the tractor, and I got 1 hits the hydraulic line, and I got 2 in Copenhagen and 2 in Dutch, and 1 hits Corey Comparatori, which shot hit the back railing? Was that a silent round coming from the trees? At the same time we hear a bang-bang shot, we hear a shot, and we're seeing a silent shot at the same time? Damn, that's some coordinated activity. When you play online gaming,
Yeah.
if you had one shooter in one location and another shooter in another location, and you guys were unknown to the, like they didn't know you were there, and you guys on your radios did a countdown, and you said, we're going to open fire at the count of 3. 3, 2, 1, open fire. Ready? 3, 2, 1, fire. It would be pretty synchronized, right? It's going to be less than a half a second. I mean, you're not going to wait. It's going to be 3, 2, 1, pull the trigger, right? We're going to be pretty close. And that's without even practicing.
Yeah.
If we start practicing this, where you've got a suppressed weapon and I've got one that goes bang, bang, and on a count of 3, 2, 1, they don't even know you're there.
Yeah, you mask it perfectly.
They don't even know you're there. And if you're shooting subsonic, there's no crack downrange. Sounds like a bee just flew by. Or a hummingbird. What the hell was that? There's no crack. Dude, this is some dastardly stuff going on here. And as we started counting for the bullets downrange and where they ended up, it's not adding up to 8.
Yeah.
And that's going to be the death of them. That's going to break the whole case wide open, is that there's more than 8 ballistic events happening downrange. So this is a pretty big cover-up, my friend. The part I don't seem to understand is why the Trump camp doesn't want to make a big deal out of it. Maybe they want to hold their cards tight to the vest, wait for him to win the election, and then go after these people. I don't know. But to me, it just seems remarkable that how quiet the conversations have been around this type of conspiracy.
I think that's very telling, because they absolutely have whatever it is that we have. So why are they?
At least, yeah.
At least,
At
least, yeah. You don't know. We don't know what fucking private security or whatever remnants of Secret Service he has are. I would imagine it's more than what we publicly have.
Yeah, again, he knows what's going on. So I'm trying to figure out what's what, right? What got hit when? Which rounds hit which person when?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So was it the second shot that hits David Dutch? Was it the first shot? Right. I don't think it's the first shot. And then the shots that we hear are not the same as this suppressed stuff. The suppressed stuff is happening before the stuff that we hear. Who are they shooting at? Are they shooting at the snipers and missing because of the wind? It's a pretty big wind that day. It's like 12-mile-an-hour wind. That ends up playing a pretty big role here. But the fact that David Dutch is shot twice, Copenhagen is shot twice, Corey Comparatori's once, that's 5 shots of the 8. Does that mean that the shot that hit Trump's ear ended up in David Dutch? Did the shot that hit Trump's ear end up in Copenhagen? And how do we figure that out? Well, we figured that out using this trajectory thing, right? So by kind of mapping the venue and then trying to figure out the trajectories of stuff, we're trying to figure out what's what, what's where. And so I do a podcast every Friday night called John Cullen Investigates. on YouTube, and with my podcast partner, Jason Goodman. And then Thursday nights, he is starting a series with a guy named Lee Stranahan, who's kind of a legend in TV. Lee was part of the original team that came out with a new tech video toaster. And one of their first customers was Alex Jones at InfoWars, to give InfoWars kind of like that newsroom type look on a budget. And that's what they had. It was called the New Tech Video Toaster, and it changed production basically. It allowed you to do stuff that you used to have, $1 million worth of equipment you can now do for a couple $1,000. So game changing stuff. So Lee is also an expert in the Unreal Engine, which you know a lot about, right? So Unreal is used to build a lot of the great games. Well, so that's all wireframe modeling and stuff like that. So he knows all that. And what we're trying to do now is take sort of a model of the scene and turn it into something that'll almost resemble like Madden football. Well, you'll be able to hit rewind and go backwards, and then hit play. And as you hit play, you'll be able to go in slow motion. And as the shots ring out, when the right shot goes and the crane comes down, and you'll see the hydraulic fluid spray out. And this is where the Unreal Engine is unbelievable, because it knows how to do fluid dynamics. It knows how to do fluid dynamics in the wind. It's crazy. It's like you just give it the wind speed and the wind direction, and it knows. It knows what to do. And then you know how gusty do you want it? A little gusty, a lot gusty, super gusty, and now the wind is going to go up and down a lot. It's remarkable what you can do with these new tools. And so we're working with a team of people to try and recreate the scene using the video footage that different people captured. I don't know if have you ever seen the movie Vantage Point?
No.
Can I play the trailer?
Yeah, go for
The trailer for Vantage Point is awesome.
Yeah, go.
So the trailer for Vantage Point, the scene is the President of the United States is speaking. And he's speaking in some historical venue. Looks kind of like, the old Roman Colosseum kind of thing, but obviously it's not, but it's like a historical place like that. And the president in this is played by William Hurt. And it's I guess it's sort of like a takeoff on Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon. And so I'll play this. This is called Vantage Point, and this is just the trailer. You guys can find this, but it's relevant because the concept behind this film and Akira Kurosawa's Rashomon is what we're applying to this crime scene. So let me play this for everybody, and you guys will see what I mean in a second here.
Three, two. Here in Salamanca, Spain, President Ashton has been working with leaders from 5 continents to forge a new groundbreaking alliance.
Today, we make history.
The United States has been shot.
We need your camera.
You saw the shooter.
There was something in that window.
I saw something too.
We have to respond.
You can't give the order. You've been shot. We risk telling the world that you weren't really there.
We weren't there.
You to tell us what's going on.
I think I just saw the guy who did it. We're shut in the city now. The NSA has just confirmed the threat.
We know who's behind this.
So the idea here,
That looks sick.
they've got to get the cameras from all these different people that were at the venue,
I like
and
it.
they're trying to recreate the crime scene from different vantage points. And that's exactly what we're doing. We're taking body cam footage from the police where they killed the audio. We're marrying it with the audio from the dash cam that's synchronized with the Motorola clock, but it's crappy. And then we're trying to synchronize as much footage as we can. My broadcast partner, Jason, did this thing called a GigaSync using Adobe Premiere. And so he's got all the footage like lined up, and it's like unbelievable. Like he's got the NTD footage, the right side broadcasting footage, you name it, and everything like comes and goes where it's supposed to come and go. And it allows us now to say, okay, so wait a second. 30 seconds before the shooting, what did we see on the roof? From here? From there? Is that the same guy running? So now we get to see the vantage points synced up in time. So this is like a 4-dimensional evaluation where we're looking at the 3D model, but we also have the ability to kind of move the slider back in time, forward in time. Where was he on the roof at this moment? Where was he on the roof at that moment? And quite frankly, I don't see anybody else doing this type of research into the shooting. I think that really the work that Jason and I are doing with Lee and the rest of the team, some of whom want to remain anonymous.
Sure.
I just don't see anybody else doing this level of 3D analysis. There's some international people who are making some really great models, but what we're trying to do is look at the trajectories and figure out if the shooter is here, how did these rounds end up there? And we're doing things like putting in the wind, putting in the weight of the rounds, the speed of the rounds, allowing for different variables. So it's a pretty complex analysis. And again, I just don't see anybody else doing it.
So then you kind of have to, and this is always difficult, and this is kind of the reason why you, like you said, it's less about, how many years was he with the Secret Service, and it's more so about physically, like what happened, what's on tape, what's on audio. And so, but at a certain point, there would have to be a portion of energy would have to go to speculation, and that you'd have to go, all right, so, it seems like beyond a reasonable doubt that there's a second shooter. You don't even have to be married to that idea. Just go hypothetically and say there's a second shooter, because we see the cat teams counter snipers dodge. We see them readjust targets. The lady saying it's over by the trees. We see the guys going over there with the ladder by the trees. So you'd have to reasonably assume that there's something that you don't have physical evidence of, but you have all these proxies of evidence to where you go, something happened from the trees. You then have to jump forward from that point, and you'd have to be very open about, and now we are speculating. You have to then go, so it's conspiracy. Now what would you do if you're trying to cover that up? And you need to look for proxies of what would a cover up look like. You have to put yourself in the mind of that. And that gets foggy, and you'd have to be very clear that you're speculating now. But you'd have to go, it seems like there's something over by, and no one's talking about the trees. We therefore have to conclude that there is a cover up about shooting from the trees. How would you cover it up? And then look for those proxies. Do you cover up the footprints going into the woods? Do you fucking, shut down cameras at, like, looks like there's a gas station up by the cursor. Did their cameras go out at a certain time? Like, you then have to start, and it gets tricky because you're going on just speculation. But if you're beyond a reasonable doubt that there's a shooter in the trees, a second shooter somewhere near the trees, you then have to go, they've also tried to cover it up. That's when you go in and, that's when you go into the corporate office and you go, why were all these hard drives wiped? You have to start looking for the proxies of covering it up. Do you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's hard because it's speculation and you don't want to lose your credibility, but you'd have to go, if you were going to cover up you find out that every, Wi-Fi router around the trees shut down at 6:11. You'd be like,
there's a couple of things. So first of all, we have the snipers turning their bodies physically. We see them do it. We've got Vanessa Broussard telling us it appears that gunfire is coming from the trees. They're turning towards the trees. So she's narrating it. So it's not like we think we're seeing it. She's telling us that's what's happening. Yeah. They're turning that way. So that's happening. We have the ballistic evidence of what's happening down here. And quite frankly, that's like where we started. And I didn't really start looking at the snipers dodging bullets until I said, well, wait a second. If there's a round coming down this row, why would somebody shoot the guy in white from the white tents? That doesn't make any sense. And why would the sniper shoot? That doesn't make any sense. Was somebody shooting at the snipers and missing? And that's what I was like, oh boy, that would kind of work. But there was no Dunkin' Donuts up here. And I was hoping there'd be a Dunkin' Donuts here. And I could say Ben Affleck is on the roof of Dunkin' Donuts. He's lost his mind about J-Lo. Case closed. Ben Affleck did it. Right? And it would have been easy. But there's no Dunkin' Donuts here. There's a bunch of trees. And it's like, so there's a guy in a tree shooting at these guys? And Clay's like, dude, they've been doing this since 1941. You know, Japanese are doing this in in the Japanese toga uniform, whatever they were wearing back then. So he wasn't surprised by that at all. If they're shooting at these guys and missing, yes, it would go right down this rail. And lo and behold, we see a round hit that rail. So, it's the ballistics that are indicating what might be happening here. Now, to your point, how do you cover it up? Well, there's two methods. One, you just ignore it. And that's part of the limited hangout thing. So a lot of the people who are investigating, quote unquote, the shooting, ignore the whole back row conversation. The whole fact that there is some sort of a kinetic event on that back row of the bleachers, nobody wants to talk about that. They barely want to talk about the bullet that hits the rail in the back corner. They barely want to talk about that, right? So why is that? Because when you calculate the trajectory for that, you realize in order for that shot to come from the roof, the lucky guy would have been killed because he's standing between the corner and the rooftop shooter. So that's why we call him the lucky man. Let me show you guys what I mean by this. So the trajectories are such that if the shot that hits the railing and makes the puff of smoke came from the rooftop, it would have hit this guy, would have gone through him based on where he was standing. So that's why we call him the lucky man, because the fact that he didn't get shot is somewhat miraculous. He was right next to Copenhagen and David Dutch. So he is the lucky man. So as the shot comes in to that, back railing corner, that's the big deal, right? So this is the part that everybody wants to ignore. So that's how you cover it up. You cover it up that way. And then the other way you cover it up is maybe you start talking about the water tower instead of the trees. And you get everybody looking in the general vicinity, but at the wrong thing. Now, so was there something in the water tower? I don't know. Right? Was there a shooter in the water tower or not? But if this is the trajectory of this round, and it's coming from, somewhere up near those counter snipers, well then, yeah, we've got more than one shooter. And that would be, the big cover up. So the ballistics are indicating that this has to have come from the tree line because of the lucky man. And because the snipers said, we thought we were taking fire, and we see them ducking for cover. So that means there's two shooters. And the fact that no one wants to talk about it, that's the limited hangout. The limited hangout is when they just ignore pivotal evidence.
Yeah.
Right? So you got pivotal evidence here, and they're going to pretend it's not there.
It's back to our previous episodes about, Crimson Contagion and, was it in the test strip? If you're not looking for it, you're never going to find it. And then everything you do down that road of flowcharts is moot because you're no longer, it's the drunk man looking for his glasses under the street light. Well, if they're not under the street, it doesn't matter what you do. Doesn't matter how many people you bring in. Yeah, I know. So, but I mean is that's what I'm saying is, so you have people who are going, yeah, we're not going to look at that, and it's like, well, everything you do from this point doesn't fucking matter, and a lot of them are just jumping on board the content train of, Trump shot at, and you're going for it. Yeah, but I think very few people actually want to go in and delve in, kind of like you said, you always do, which is what I like, is you're not married to an idea. I just fucking want to find out what do I give a shit.
If there's nobody in the water tower, there's
Yeah,
nobody in
fuck
the
it.
water.
Yeah,
Again,
move on. Yeah.
I don't really care, right? So
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, why is 911 telling everybody we got a shooter at the water tower,
Yeah.
and nobody seems to be responding in such a manner? That seemed odd to me. So, we had an opportunity. So one of the things Jason's good at is getting eyewitness interviews. So he was able to get that woman in red, the woman in the red shirt, the red hat. Her name is Erin, and she came on the show. And she told us it was the guy behind her who said, "Ooh, they just shot the guy in the water tower." So she didn't see it. She didn't see it. She heard it secondhand from the guy behind her. So to your point, how do you cover up shooters in the trees? You blow out of proportion the water tower thing. You get George Webb running around talking about it. You get water tower, water tower, water tower. And nobody's talking about the ladder in the trees. Nobody's talking about the fact that the snipers are pointing at the trees. They're not pointing at the water tower. Now, that doesn't mean there's not somebody in the water tower. But when we're looking at this group of snipers, that's not where they're pointing. The water tower conversation comes into play when we get to the Eric Prince tweet, when Eric Prince says 488 yards. And the reason for that, let me show this to the audience, and then we'll kind of wrap up on this. But the reason that Eric Prince tweet is so important, he says that the sniper took out the shooter at a distance of 488 yards. The issue there is that there's only the only 480-yard radius that's out there from any one of these shooters is 488 yards from these secret snipers that we looked at a moment ago to the water tower. That's the only 488-yard scenario. The kid on the roof isn't 488 yards from anything. It's much closer, like 356 or something. So the only measurement that's 488, and it's exactly 488. It's not 485.
Yeah.
It's not 490. It's 488 from where we see these guys located to the stanchion on the water tower is 488. And so that's what makes it creepy. And that's what makes it's like it's hard to drop it when Eric Prince is that specific and that tied into the Trump team.
Yeah.
So because of that, I keep one eye on evidence coming from the water tower. But right now we've got audio evidence, and now we've got visual evidence of potentially a shooter inside the building, which would mean the shooter's in uniform. And if there's one in the building, that means there's two in the building. And we do see what appears to be muzzle flash from two different windows, which would mean there's two shooters in uniform in the building, aware of each other, working in concert. And then the question is, well, when did the kid on the roof die? Did he get off 3 shots? Did he get off 5? Was it 3 and 5 or 3 and 5? Or did he get off a single shot? I don't know the answer to that stuff. But the body cam footage is coming together, and it doesn't look good, man. It appears to me that you've got two shooters inside American Glass on the first floor, not the second floor. The other thing, people keep talking about that second floor window. The crack thump doesn't reach that far. The crack thump doesn't even reach to the kid on the roof. So when you guys talk about that other window upstairs where Greg Nichols was, the crack thump doesn't reach to there. And the wound that the kid on the roof has is on the right side rear of his neck. That's the exit wound. And the entry wound is here in the temple. So, hard to explain. Hard to explain. But we're piecing it together one piece at a time.
And then as kind of an aside, is what's so frustrating is, something like JFK, where it's a conspiracy, but they did a very good job at, other than the Zapruder film, fucking destroying everything and anyone related to it. This is so different because it's 2024, and then what we have publicly available, obviously, you scale it up 10, 20 years, is what the national security apparatus has available. There's like this technology, what you're talking about, the playing it, rewinding it, that does exist. It's a program called Gorgon Stare. There's a great book on it by Arthur Hall and Michael. It's maybe the most important book I think you can read. I've brought it up on the show before to Air Force guys, and they kind of turn white because I guess it's a very classified program, but there's a fucking audio book on it, so I'm not a fan. But the point is that exists. It existed back in 2014. They'd use it for special forces. With the NRO, the National Reconnaissance Office, the NSA, all just surveillance of
Keyhole.
every keyhole.
What we're using here, this is
Yeah,
Keyhole.
yeah.
So Google Earth was
yeah, exactly.
Keyhole.
NGA,
So
the National Geospatial Agency. My point is like, it's inspiring seeing you guys do this because it's like you're recreating, the nuclear bomb, and it's so frustrating because the fucking national security apparatus, they have this in 8K 60 FPS animation with NSA phones down to it's all there. So unlike Grassy Knoll where they destroyed it all, on some server somewhere, they've got what was supposed to be their perfect operation where they finally killed Trump. And that exists somewhere on some air-gapped hard drive in the middle of fucking nowhere. That.
and the evidence to sort of lay out what happened is also out there, and they just redact it. It's all redacted. If they would unredact the stuff they've shared, we'd be ready to go to court. So it's a bit crazy that they're redacting all this again. In what interest? Who are we protecting?
Well, it comes down to the important examples of January 6th and then when Xi Jinping visited San Francisco or wherever the fuck last year. You can see that when they really want to clean up a city, they can do it. They can get rid of homeless people. They can have security out there and stop all looting on a dime. With January 6th, if they truly want to hunt you down, they'll hunt you down and they'll make a public example of it, and they'll let you know that no one's fucking safe. It's possible. They can do it. It's not ineptitude. We're managing to secure Israel's border and Ukraine's border, but we just can't do it here. It's because they don't want it done. So when you look at all this, you go, did they hide anything on January 6th? Did they go, no, we're not releasing that? No, they said, hey, is this your neighbor? Is this your coworker? Fucking turn them in. You do the right thing. Now with this, when they try to blow the president's head off, they go, I don't know where it is. To me, that itself is just, that's red-handed. You're going, wait, you can do January 6th. You can hunt them all down. But this is just, we don't know what to do. Well, to me, that says that the people who are capable of hunting you down from January 6th, the national security apparatus, are also capable of doing this. And if they're not doing it, it's because they're covering their own fucking track. So again, and you have to have evidence. You can't just speculate, sure. But that's pretty damning right there. You go, like, you can secure a border if you want on the other side of the world. Why aren't you doing it here? Well, because you don't want to. You can hunt down a grandmother who stepped foot in the Capitol through an Instagram post. Why aren't you? How come we're not seeing daily digital recreations of here? And here's when, if that was Biden, on every night you'd be like, and here's the newest NSA video, and they have a special quantum computer EM drive satellite that looks down. It'd be on every fucking, like, they're gonna find them. But now it's big. It's the blurry photo of Bigfoot just like walking to the side, and we don't know who did it. It's pretty damning.
I don't understand how it's out of the news cycle for the most part.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's a whole other rabbit hole. Is that you can't even find it on Google. It's
I'm glad that he talked about it with Elon.
Yeah.
He said he was never going to bring it up again after the RNC meeting, and I was
they did a solid 15-20 minutes. And I think,
brings up the 400 yards. He mentions that, right? So he's dropping hints, and I gotta believe he knows what happened. He knows there's more than one shooter, And Eric Prince clearly knows something. Or why would he tweet 488 yards? He's trying to make a
Yeah.
moron out of himself?
Yeah, no. It's
Is he trying to make an ass out of himself? Why would he do that?
I'm gonna go back and re-listen to the Elon Trump thing because he does. Yeah, he says that they talk about it for like 15 minutes, and he goes,
Indeed.
the counter sniper. He goes, he specifically says he saw the smoke and the fire from the gun, and he goes, and that guy I've been with him for 23 years, and he took a shot, one shot within five. So he's. I mean, there is,
Yeah,
I guess,
he's
important data
clear.
in there.
He also mentions the woman in red. He mentions the woman in red. That's Erin. She was on the show with Jason and I. And that episode of mine, if you guys go to YouTube /@ I am John Cullen, that episode has like 200,000 views, 230,000 views, some big number.
For everybody listening,
she-
the link to your show is in the description.
There you go. So she has been mentioned by Trump a number of times. He keeps talking about the lady in red, the lady in red. Well, she's the woman that said there was one shooter down by the fence and another one by the water tower. And the sharpshooter shot the guy in the water tower. But after having her on the show, she told us she heard that from the guy standing behind her. It doesn't mean it didn't happen,
Sure.
but it means the likelihood that we can't really base that much on her testimony on that part. But she seemed to say there was another shooter down by the fence. We see the cops with the ladder going up the tree. So there's more and more evidence that there was more than one shooter. The ballistic evidence, the crack thump stuff doesn't reach to the kid on the roof. It only reaches to the window. And we see what appears to be muzzle flash in the window. At the same moment, we hear silence gunfire on Shaky Dave's video. And at the same moment, we see what appears to be muzzle flash on the body cam video, the Motorola video. That's at the same instant that we hear boom, boom, boom on the dash cam thing. So is it incontrovertible at this point? No. But is it rather damning already? I think so. And it's just going to keep getting worse and worse. So stay tuned.
You're gonna figure it out. I mean, that's the beauty about the truth is, I mean, Jerome Corsi last year or earlier this year, I had him on. He released the book Final Analysis. They're still, they using new technology to scan the MRIs of Kennedy's head, and you look at it now, you go, yeah, there's absolutely a shooter from it might take 60 years, but the truth, it comes out. It's the famous proverb, three things are not long hidden: the sun, the moon, and the truth. Comes out.
Well, I'm afraid I don't have 90 years
No, you
left.
don't. No, you don't. But
Probably
I think,
not.
yeah. But I think, I mean,
So we're gonna have to step it up a little bit and
Yeah, but
maybe put this thing into
a little
high gear.
faster. Yeah. I
Indeed.
think we
But
will
again,
because of technology.
and we're making great progress. We really are. The crowdsourcing method that Jason kind of codified as his brand, crowdsourcing the truth. We've got so many people bringing evidence to bear.
Yeah.
People that, hey, look at this footage. Look at this. Go to 2 minutes, 17 seconds. Click on this. Oh my God, look at what's happening. It's like having an army of people that are helping, all pulling in the same direction to find the footage, to find the evidence of who was shot from where, when, in what sequence.
Yeah.
And that's going to help us figure out how many people were really out there, and that'll help us figure out who was behind this.
Yeah.
The more shooters, the more complex this gets. And the fact that there's people in that building, potentially in uniform, firing at the former president and blending in amongst the police as if they belong there is kind of chilling.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's gonna, it's been 32 days and look how far you've come. So it's gonna, yeah, there's, and because we're only 32 days out, that it's by no means like a cold case. There's still, phone videos that just haven't hit the internet yet or whatever. Like, there's an angle or an audio or some shit. There's something it's gonna disrupt the current thesis, but it's gonna just bring it into sharper and sharper focus as it always does. And it's not if, it's when. And yeah, man, as always, my show is your platform. It's yours to use. It's yours to disseminate. Get more people in on the crowdsourcing, the many brains at work, and we'll keep at it until eventually John and I are killed by a Hellfire missile, in which case it'll be Yell's problem.
Indeed. Well, we've only got 4.5 years left until Apophis gets here. Then it's everybody's got problems.
Yeah. What do we care?
We got a big problem.
Hell yeah. Guys, please go join the Patreon. Please go give John a couple bucks. Go watch the show on YouTube. At the very least, go follow him on Twitter, retweet him, help get to the bottom of this. And am I missing anything or are we good?
It's all good. Join us on our Friday night show. It's called John Cullen Investigates. We're on YouTube. And Thursday night, we're doing a special 3D modeling session with a guy that's been helping me in Lee Stranahan. So tune in for that. And again, we're just forging ahead, gathering evidence, and trying to line up these shots and figure out what happened from where and who may have been behind this. And so I really appreciate the support from those of you who do support me on Patreon. That's the only way I make a living. None of my other stuff is monetized at all. So YouTube's not monetized, Twitter's not monetized, and unlike Tommy, I don't have any sponsors. Nobody wants to associate with me. So I understand. So it's Patreon, Subscribestar, or nothing. If you go to patreon.com/I am John Cullen or Subscribestar/I am John Cullen. That's how I support my kid. So that's it.
Beautiful.
Thank you, guys.
Beautifully done, sir. You're doing God's work, and as always, my show is yours to use. So keep at it, and wherever you want to hop on again, we'll get Clay whenever the fuck Clay's available again. We'll grab him and do another show. So appreciate you, dude. You're the best. And yeah, guys, please go support him. Please go follow him on Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. Till next time, John. Thank you for your time, sir. Take care, guys.